Good morning and welcome to KidNuz. I'm Tori. Today is Wednesday, November 4th, 2020. And we begin with what appears to be a photo finish in the race for the White House. As of this recording, early Wednesday morning, Democrat Joe Biden is in the lead, but votes are still being counted in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, and Georgia. And those states are now holding all the cards when it comes to who ultimately will occupy the Oval Office for the next 4 years. We could have a final winner announced today, but maybe not. And if we don't, it won't be the first time. In 2000, it took until December, with intervention by the Supreme Court, for George W. Bush to be able to claim victory. No matter what side you're on, though, there's some very good news when it comes to voter turnout. Estimates suggest that around 150 million Americans made sure their voices were heard at the ballot box. If that number holds up, it could translate to the highest percentage of eligible citizens to vote in a presidential election since 1908. There's at least one race we can all celebrate. Taking a page in good sportsmanship from a triathlete in Spain, a high school runner in the U.S. stopped to help an injured rival at the tail end of a cross-country meet. Ben Bordley of Terre Haute, Indiana, was just yards from the finish line when fellow runner Faison Khan's legs gave out from under him. Ben hit the brakes, grabbed Faison's arm, pulled him up, and made sure they both completed the race. Neither had a chance of winning, but video of the moment has gone viral nonetheless. Ben's response to those praising his actions: "I guess that's how my parents raised me. They taught me to treat others how I'd want to be treated and to be helpful when I can." The NFL's uniform police are apparently out in force. 2 players from the Pittsburgh Steelers just got fined $5,000 each for wearing their socks too low. Wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster and running back James Conner were both flagged by the league for breaking a dress code that requires players to wear their socks all the way up to their pants. Specifically, the letter detailing the punishment read, "Your stockings failed to cover your lower leg." Pictures of the players from the game in question show a small gap between their pants and their socks. Both players are rookies and can appeal the ruling. It may have taken a pandemic, but Burger King just took the unprecedented step of advertising for its biggest rivals. On Monday, under the banner headline, "Order from McDonald's," BK acknowledged it never thought it would suggest such a thing, but is now asking customers to take their business to the Golden Arches, Pizza Hut, Five Guys, Taco Bell, pretty much any chain, because all are struggling to keep their employees working. Burger King signed off with, "Getting a Whopper is always best, but ordering a Big Mac is also not such a bad thing." If you've ever wanted to give a pet a forever home, now might be a great time. 600 adoptable dogs and cats just flew to the U.S. mainland from Hawaii in the largest animal rescue flight ever. This Paws Across the Pacific mission started with an enormous C-130 cargo plane puddle jumping from Oahu to Maui to Kauai to collect animals that have overcrowded shelters ever since the pandemic began. 2,600 miles later, the flight landed in Seattle, where it was met by volunteers from rescue groups in Washington, Oregon, Montana, and Idaho. All 4-legged passengers arrived safely and are awaiting a loving family. Anyone interested can reach out to Paws or the Humane Society. That's it for KidNuz. Now our KidNuz quiz. Who won the presidential election? Votes are still being counted, but so far, Joe Biden is in the lead. How many people voted? Estimates suggest 150 million Americans cast ballots, which would translate to the highest percentage of eligible voters since 1908. Why did 2 players from the Pittsburgh Steelers get fined? According to the league's dress code, their socks were too low. How many shelter pets were aboard the Paws Across the Pacific flight? 600, and all need forever homes. And one for the road. Depending on your perspective, Baby Shark is either a super catchy tune or an earworm to be avoided at all costs. What isn't debatable is the record it just set for the most watched video in the history of YouTube. The contagious cartoon ditty has now been viewed more than 7.04 billion times since its debut 4 years ago, pushing it past Despacito, the 2017 single by pop stars Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee. The song started as a nursery rhyme but became a global phenomenon after being recorded by Boise, Idaho resident Hope Sigoni when she was just 10. Before we go, it's time to turn it over to Kim for today's Kid News shout-outs.
Thanks, Tori. Our teacher salutes today are for Mr. Ostrander, Mr. Valamont, and Mr. Butcher, all at the Perry Innovation Center in Grand Blanc, Michigan, and for Mrs. Green at Elizabeth Park Elementary in Paradise, Newfoundland, Canada. And we send birthday greetings to Iker in Woodside, New York, Camille in Lawrenceville, Georgia, to Canada for Kendall in Brandon, Manitoba, and Andrew in Edmonton, Alberta, Audrey in Abuja, Nigeria, Gabby in Hillsboro, Wisconsin, Carter in Tomball, Texas, Kennedy in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and to California for Bryce in Menlo Park, Tyler in Portola Valley, and Ashley in Carlsbad. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you back here for more Kid News tomorrow morning.